All right, so today in social studies, first things first, I need to tell y'all, very important message. I was on Google Classroom this weekend and I noticed where some of y'all, no, not this class. Okay, y'all were supposed to have turned in the Timeline to War assignment on Friday, okay? Because remember, I didn't have you guys Friday because I was in training. It was good training though. I learned some stuff. So y'all were supposed to turn in your Timeline to Civil War assignment. Okay, so if you have not done that, which I noticed yesterday when I checked, only 14 of y'all had done that. 14. Okay, so you know what? Hold off on that. Don't do that just yet. Freeze frame. I'm going to share my screen. And while I do that, I do want to mention I had a parent reach out to me on Friday and express some concerns about some things, and I want to mention that to y'all. One of the concerns he had was that his child is not doing well on assignments because they are chatting. They are in a chat group. Now, I'm not talking about the chat for Zoom. I'm talking about like Google Chat, okay? All right? And so I asked Hampton about it, and Hampton kind of looked at me like he got busted. And I said, "Are you chatting?" And he said, "Not when y'all are teaching," but yes, ma'am. Okay, so here's the deal. When you are in a chat group, number one, you're not paying attention. You're not. And number two, it's the same thing as if you were in the building, if you were passing a note. If you were passing a note in my room, I would take it and read it in front of the whole class. I like doing that. It's kind of fun. But you wouldn't pass notes in class. Most of you wouldn't. So you shouldn't be chatting off to the side. Because of these chats, people are not doing all that well in this room. I'm looking at my grade sheet and I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 F's. 6 F's. Okay? And guys, I know it's different. I know that it is a lot different learning virtually than it is in person. I totally get it and I respect it, okay? But the assignments that I'm taking grades on, like the quick check or that Go Formative, those aren't hard assignments like what I typically give when you're back in the classroom. So, Philip, stop. So, it's important that you're trying your best and doing your best work because, guys, these are going in the grade book. Okay? Also, Addison, after class today, I need you to stick around because I need you to do that Civil War quick check. Normally, if you're absent, I'm not going to remind you to do it. When I emailed home about that, now you may have done it. If you've already finished it, send me a little chat and let me know that you did. But if you didn't do it, I need you to stay after class so that I can go over that with you guys. And guys, I'm not going to do this. If you're not in school, whether it's because of internet issues or whatever, you're still responsible for making up the work you missed. And it has been way past your grace period. You know, when you're absent from school, it's way past your grace period to be able to turn it in late. So Addie, I need you to stay with me after class today. All right, here we go. So another thing that the father said to me was, he said it's a lot right now with the number of platforms the number of different platforms teachers are using. He said that his child is kind of struggling or feeling overwhelmed because of going to Google Classroom and going to Clever or Canvas and all that. I don't want anybody feeling stressed. I really don't want anybody feeling stressed over it. So I want to make it better if I can. So until I tell you to, nobody has to go on Google Classroom until I tell you to. Yes, you did, Olivia. You did it. Maybe you're talking about something else, but anyway. So Google Classroom will only be used for turning in assignments. Okay, so as far as homework is concerned, I will go over your homework at the beginning of class, but it will not be on Google Classroom. Okay, so that way there's a one-stop shop for everybody. You just go onto your Canvas and look at each teacher's class so that you know what's up. Okay, so here we go. You should have your agenda book out. Okay, take out your agenda book. All right, now you don't have homework tonight, like written, or I guess I should say typed homework. Your homework tonight is to study over your notes because you're going to be having another quick check this week. Olivia, you are 11 minutes late, baby. I don't know if it is from technical issues, but we got to get that figured out and worked on because you can't come into class 11 minutes late. You just can't. All right, so in your agenda book, find this week's agenda. Okay, so today is the 31st of August, the last day of the month. Tomorrow is a new month, September 1st. Whoop, whoop. What are you doing? You should take it with you all the time. Sorry. You need a pencil? Here. Okay. Okay, so flip to today's date, and then you're going to click on Monday. Today, at the end of the day, there will be a homework tab. It'll be a homework button that you'll click on. Okay, but today, is this for you? Okay. All right, for today, you'll click on Monday. Okay, and I don't have homework written down here. Okay, so for you, I want you to write in your agenda book study notes. For Monday's homework, you're going to write study notes. And a lot of times people think, oh yes, I don't have any homework, I don't have to do anything when it's study notes. That's not true. Study notes means to just read over your notes, like open up the browser, read over them once or twice, and you're good to go. If you read over your notes once or twice a day, when it comes time to doing a quick check, it'll be easy because I ask questions from things like that. All right, so once you have your homework written down, study your notes. You're going to have a quick check sometime this week. All right, you're done writing down your homework for the day. Okay, now our Monday resources says, today we're going to begin taking Civil War notes, and then it tells you how to do it, how to access it. So if you're ever absent or your internet fails you, always click on the day of the week and it'll tell you what we did in class. And then you can go back to the recorded videos and hear the notes and all the nonsense and stuff that I talk about in class, okay? So it tells you we're going to begin Civil War notes. Click on modules. Scroll down to week 3 and click on Civil War main events, okay? So we're going to click on modules. So you should see modules on the left-hand side. And just like I told y'all in the first week, modules are your virtual binder, and it's organized for you. So here's all of the week 1 resources. Here's what would be in your binder if you were in class for week 2. Here is week 3, okay? If you click that, don't, but that takes you back to where we just were. That's your Monday resources page. There's 2 ways to get there, by clicking on the word Monday or by going to it through modules. This next thing says Civil War main events notes. Be sure you're clicking on the Civil War main events notes. So you're going to click it, and it's going to take you to this page. It says, this tool needs to be loaded in a new browser window. Load Civil War main events notes in a new window. So you're going to click on this button. So click on that button. And your notes page will open in Kami. Now, it may have you activate your account. You may have to activate your Kami account, okay? But once you do it for my class, you won't have to do it ever again. So if your screen doesn't pop up like that, you're gonna need to be sure you click on where it says Google, like, I don't know what it says, but it says something Google, okay? And then you're gonna locate your 10-digit GTID number at mcsdgas.com. Click on that, and then your Kami should open up like this. If yours does not open up like that, I need you to send me a chat right now. Yay, I'm so glad. Oh, I've got a chat. All right. Ma'am. No, ma'am. Nobody, guys, listen, here's the deal. Nobody unmutes themselves unless I ask you to, okay? Because of that reverb sound, it's not good when I'm recording a lesson, okay? So you don't need to unmute yourself unless I click on unmute you, okay? Because then that can cause that reverb and that sound, all right? Olivia, I'm not gonna, I need you to get with me. You have to go to your your Canvas, and there's a button right there that you click, and when you click it, it should open up to Kami. If it doesn't open up to Kami, you have to select the Google account. Olivia, that doesn't make any sense. And I have 24 other students that I got to work with, okay, baby? Do you have this screen? Do you see this notes sheet? Okay, then what are you wasting my time for, baby? You have the screen, so you're good. Okay, here we go. Lordy be. All right, so many of you know how to use the text features in Kami, but I'm gonna just do a quick rundown. The text box select is right here. You'll click it, okay? And then you'll click inside the box, okay? Click inside. You're gonna be taking notes in this arrow, all right? Now, I like to use a white font just because it's easier to read. You may prefer black. Black looks good too, okay? But you don't wanna make your font something that's hard for you to read because like I said, these are your notes. This is what you're gonna study. You with me? Okay, now, I go with the size 16 font, but guys, if it's too big, okay, or if it's not big enough, I can always highlight it. And when I click on it, a drop-down box comes and I can make it bigger. I can change the font, I can make it bigger, or I can make it smaller, okay? The whole thing is you want to be sure that this fits inside, all of your notes fits inside. So you can pick up the box and resize it however you need to. Now, I want you to use the bullet points, okay? Now, in my other classes, people said that they didn't see the bullet point option, okay? So let me show you where the bullet point option is, and then I'll tell you how to find it yourself. When you have your text box feature clicked, and when you click on there, you'll need to make your Kami screen bigger. So it's gonna kind of take you away from your split screen. But when you make your Kami screen bigger, you should see all of these, this whole toolbar. And there is the numbered list icon. And right beside it is bullet point list. You're going to click bullet point list, and you see how it popped up? In order for you to see it, you have to have a text box open. And so when you click on bullet point list, a bullet point will pop up. You with me? All right. Then you'll want to go back to shared screen so that you can see your notes. Okay. So let me, well, dadgum, where are my notes? Here we go. All right. So I am going to make it big for you. All right. Here's what you have. And here's the next slide. Okay. So listen, you just made a bullet. If you didn't make a bullet, you can always put a number 1 and a period. You need to separate your notes like mine are so that it's easy to study. I don't want you to write it as one continuous paragraph, okay? So beside the first bullet, you're gonna write this first sentence. Then after you hit the period, you'll hit the enter key and you'll get another bullet. That's where you will type this second sentence. So I'm going to give you some time to write 2 sentences. All you're doing is typing these 2 sentences beside the box that says firing on Fort Sumter in that blue arrow. Gabe, have you finished typing in your notes? Have you finished typing these 2 sentences? Awesome sauce. So Bon and David, I need to see your faces. So either adjust your monitor. There you go. Thank you. I like to see y'all's beautiful little faces. All right, here we go. So, firing on Fort Sumter. Now, we talked about this a little bit last week, okay? The firing on Fort Sumter. Now, Fort Sumter is a fort, much like Fort Benning is a fort, okay? And forts are used for military, okay? And especially during this time, we talked last week about how, you know, Fort Sumter was very, very important for the United States because, you know, if another country was going to attack us, they were going to be coming from the ocean, right? And they would be coming by sea, by boat. And so Fort Sumter was armed and had lookouts for, you know, anybody coming towards America. Okay, well, the Confederate States, once South Carolina seceded, remember South Carolina was the first state to secede from the Union. When South Carolina withdrew from the Union or seceded, they wanted to control Fort Sumter. They were like, it's off our coast. Fort Sumter is off the coast of South Carolina. We should have control over it. Abraham Lincoln was like, a little bit of no, we're not giving that over. That is a Union fort. And the Confederate States were like, hold up, it's off our coast. We want it. And Lincoln refused. Abraham Lincoln was not about to let it happen. So the Confederate soldiers decided, well, if we can't have it, nobody can. So for 32 hours, Confederate forces fired cannons at Fort Sumter, trying to get the Union to give it up. Finally, Abraham Lincoln said, okay, you know what? It's not whatever. If this is how they want to play, if they want to play dirty, okay, whatevs, fine, have it your way. So Abraham Lincoln gave Fort Sumter to the Confederate soldiers and declared war on the Confederacy. So on your quick check or on a test, if you're asked, what was the first event of the Civil War, or what event caused the Civil War to begin, you would say the firing on Fort Sumter. The issues that led to the Civil War are slavery and states' rights. You see, there's a difference. So slavery and states' rights, that's what caused the tension between the North and the South. That's why the South seceded in the first place. The event that caused Lincoln to declare war on the Confederacy was the firing on Fort Sumter. Do you see the difference? States' rights and slavery caused the tension, but it was the Confederates firing on Fort Sumter that caused Lincoln to declare war. All right, and that happened on April 12th, 1861. All right, here we go. So you are going to go now, and you're going to click on your text feature. Put that up, Sophia. You're going to click on the text feature, and you're going to click inside the blue arrow beside Battle of Gettysburg. All right, and you need to do a bullet. So if you need to exit or if you need to make your Kami screen bigger, okay, you can do so. And click on bullet list point. And then you can begin typing. Now listen, you're not going to be able to fit all of this, okay? All I want you to type are the phrases that's in the big font. So this part right here, the part that says Union soldiers killed over half of the Confederate soldiers, you do not type that. You don't have enough room to type it. So you're only going to have 2 bullet points. The first one, known as the bloodiest battle of the Civil War, and the second one will be the one that begins with July 1863. Okay? You're only doing those 2. Rishi, are you finished typing? Awesome sauce. I got some fast typers up in this Zoom. All right, so real quick, okay? Battle of Gettysburg. Bam, boom, boom. Is that even that's not even what I meant to say, but that's just what came out. It's Monday. Anyway, so if you notice, firing on Fort Sumter was 1861. So we have fast forwarded to 1863. Guys, I need you to understand, there were so many battles fought in the Civil War. There is no way I could talk to you about each and every one of them. There's absolutely no way I could teach you about each and every single one of them. I mean, like, there were so many. It wasn't like one battle was fought at a time. Oh no, there were battles going on all over the North and South. all simultaneously, all going on at the same time. It's kind of like if you're on Fortnite and you're in a battle and people all over the country are in different battles, right? There's different battles going on all at the same time, right? That's the same as it was during the Civil War, okay? So we've skipped 2 years of battles. And guys, a lot of battles, like the Battle of Bull Run or Manassas, you had the Battle of Chancellorsville, the Battle of Vicksburg. The Battle of Vicksburg was a huge win for the Union. Both the Confederacy and the Union, they were doing amazing. They had amazing military leaders. You had Ulysses S. Grant for the Union. You had Robert E. Lee for the Confederacy. You had Thomas Stonewall Jackson, dude, for the Confederacy. You had General Sherman for the Union. They had military leaders that were legit, like legit leaders. So these two years of the war, it was touch and go for both sides. It was never, oh, Union's got it in the bag, or oh, Confederacy's got it in the bag. No, it was like each battle, somebody else was victorious. The Union would win one, the Confederacy would win one. The Union would win two, the Confederacy would win three. It was back and forth, okay? Well, the Battle of Vicksburg was a battle that gave the Union the confidence they needed to finish this war. Okay, the Battle of Vicksburg was a big battle. If you're interested in this type of stuff, I encourage you to look it up, investigate Battle of Vicksburg. It's not a part of our standard, that's why I don't go into great detail, but it was a heated battle, and the battle gave the Union the confidence they needed to wrap this thing up. So, Battle of Gettysburg. Gettysburg is a city in Pennsylvania, which is a state that's up north. And the Confederacy had marched up north, and they were attacking us. They were attacking the Union on Union soil. And this battle was not long. It was a 2-day long battle. Okay. And in those 2 days, it was the largest and bloodiest battle of the Civil War. Because the Union soldiers, when the Confederacy got up to Gettysburg, the Union soldiers, they were waiting. They were ready. They were like, what took you so long? And when the Confederate soldiers got there, it just opened up into a bloodbath. The Union soldiers killed over half of the Confederate soldiers. The Confederacy lost over half of their men. Okay? But still, Confederacy did not surrender. They wouldn't surrender. And I mean, they just wouldn't give up, because like I said, their leaders were legit, and they were not gonna give up. However, if you're ever asked, and you will be, what marked the turning point of the Civil War, what was the turning point? It was the Battle of Gettysburg. When the Union was victorious in the Battle of Gettysburg, the Union had just won the Battle of Vicksburg. Now they won the Battle of Gettysburg. Man, their head was through the roof. Their heads were so big, they were like, yeet, 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 yeet. They were loving it, right? They were loving it. So the Battle of Gettysburg marked the turning point of the war. July of 1863, Battle of Gettysburg. On that third day, so they battled for 2 days, and on the third day, General Lee ordered his final attack. And on that third day, that was when General Lee lost half of his men in that third and final attack of the Battle of Gettysburg. All right, now, just like I said, battles are going on simultaneously. So during Battle of Gettysburg, there were battles going on in the South. All right, so last week, I mentioned to y'all Sherman's march to the sea. Remember that? All right, let's talk about what happened, okay? So the very first part is the Atlanta campaign. So I need you to get your text box and click inside the blue arrow beside the word, the Atlanta campaign. You may have to make your Cami screen bigger so that you can click on your bullet point list. Then go back to sharing your screen, or splitting your screen, sorry, splitting your screen. And you're going to type these 2 sentences beside the Atlanta campaign. I don't know whose box that is, but I don't see your name. Oh, that's Soban, sorry. And I still don't see your face. So we need to figure something out on that, okay, baby? Whether it's a lamp or something. Got to see your face. That's Muskogee County policy. All right, here we go. Let's talk about the Atlanta campaign for a minute, okay? Shall we? Let's talk about that for a minute. So last week I mentioned to y'all General Sherman and his march to the sea. Well, I had to start somewhere, right? And it started in Atlanta. So as I stated, and as you typed, you know, the Battle of Gettysburg was a turning point, and it was a turning point in the favor of the Union. But the Confederacy still would not surrender. And that was the Union's ultimate goal. That's either side's ultimate goal in war, is to get the other side to surrender, okay? Wave their white flag. So General Sherman said, you know what? Grant is handling business with this Gettysburg, okay? Now it's time for me to handle my business. So General Sherman took his men to the city of Atlanta. Now, Atlanta wasn't our capital back then. It wasn't the capital of our state, okay? But it was a central location for military supplies. And remember, I told y'all last week, Atlanta had a lot of railroad tracks, okay? A lot of railroad tracks. And Atlanta, I mean, that was where, you know, stuff got shipped. So like when people in the Confederate Army needed food, or when they needed weapons or ammunition, or new boots because their boots were worn out. I mean, you got to keep in mind, this year lasted for 4 years. And they needed supplies to be reissued. Well, Atlanta was a central site for this. So General Sherman got this great idea. He said, okay, here's what I can do. If I take my men to Atlanta and wreak havoc on that city, I mean destroy that city, they won't have a way to get supplies. Okay, they won't be able to get their supplies. So he took his men to Atlanta and did just that. In May of 1864, General Sherman and his men went to Atlanta, captured it, okay, destroyed all the railroad tracks, pulled them up, ripped them up so no supplies could be sent, no men could be sent elsewhere, burned down factories. Now, the South didn't have a lot of factories. They had factories, but that's not what the South is known for. The South is known for their agriculture, but there were factories in the South. There still are. Well, Sherman and his men burned down factories, destroyed the factories in Atlanta. Okay, well, think about this for a minute. If you destroy a state or a city's factories, you are destroying their economy. Well, if you destroy an economy, those people, they're not going to have money for ammunition, money for food, money for anything they need to be successful. Okay? Sherman knew what he was doing. So he and his men destroyed Atlanta in the Atlanta campaign. Confederates still didn't surrender. So they were like, goodness gracious, okay. Well, I guess we're not going to stop in Atlanta. We captured it. We destroyed it. Sherman sent Abraham Lincoln a telegraph after capturing Atlanta, and I quote, "Atlanta is ours and fairly won." So he sent Abraham Lincoln a telegraph saying, look, dude, Atlanta's ours. We won it fair and square. Their supplies, they're not going to be able to ship stuff, but they still will not surrender. So Sherman started his march to the sea. And we talked about that last week. Sherman's march to the sea. Here we go. So you're going to get your text box feature and click in the arrow beside Sherman's march to the sea. You will need to make your Kami screen bigger so that you can access the bullet point. You'll click bullet point. Then you should be able to split your screen again. And you are only typing these two. This small one, you're not going to have room for. Okay? So you're only typing the first bullet point and the last bullet point in the arrow beside Sherman's march to the sea. Sorry, I had to get me a sweet tart road. All right. Here we go. So Sherman's march to the sea, real quick, because we already went over this last week. So General Sherman destroyed Atlanta and said, why stop there, especially if the Confederacy is not going to surrender? So he decided to take his men and march to the other side of Georgia. So he took his men from Atlanta and marched to the eastern coast of Georgia and ended in Savannah, okay? And all the way there, he and his men destroyed anything needed for war. I'm talking railroads. I'm talking they killed animals, okay? Now, I hope that all the animals they killed were used for food. That's my hope, okay? But they just burned and destroyed everything in their sight. Olivia Greco, I'm not really sure what you're working on, but it doesn't look like you're paying attention to me. So stay after class. They destroyed factories, okay? Factories, that's a big deal, guys. That's their moneymaker. They would use, yes, they grew the cotton, but the factories had the cotton gins. So they could process the cotton to sell it to England. They relied on those factories. Sherman and his men destroyed them. They destroyed innocent people's homes, burned them down. Abraham Lincoln was not happy. He was not happy. Yes, he wanted the Confederacy to surrender, but not at the lives of civilians and them losing their homes and things. That was not part of the plan. Now, the last part that you wrote says, this march broke the back of the Confederacy. Let me explain to you what I mean by that. Usually when an animal gets their back broken, one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to die okay? Or it's gonna leave them either paralyzed or severely handicapped, okay? Most. Some people can break their back and come back and be 100% fine, okay? But for the most part, animals, and people are animals, for the most part, if an animal's back gets broken, it really, really weakens them a lot, okay? So when we say that Sherman's March to the Sea broke the back of the Confederacy, what that means is we weakened the Confederacy. It destroyed a lot of their land, and a lot of their economy went kaput. And it was close to time for them to surrender, but they weren't ready yet. So Sherman said, okay, well, let's head on up to Virginia, because there was a battle going on between the Union and the Confederacy, led by Robert E. Lee, the Confederate leader. So Sherman said, we're gonna go up that way. We're gonna head up north to Virginia. Okay, so picture this. You've got Sherman's men marching up north to Virginia. You've got General Ulysses S. Grant marching from the north. And in the middle, you have the Confederate soldiers led by Robert E. Lee. We sandwiched them in. We sandwiched them in. That leads us to our final thing, Appomattox Courthouse, Virginia. Okay, so you're gonna click on your text box, click inside the arrow beside Appomattox Courthouse. You'll need to maximize your Kami screen so that you can see your bullet point list. Click that, then go back to share screen, or split screen, sorry, and begin typing. And like always, you're not typing this little part. You're only typing the ones that are in big font. All right, so just remember, you're only typing the first bulleted sentence and the last one. All right, so Appomattox Courthouse, the name sounds like it would be like a courthouse building, like a federal government building, but it's not. Just like Columbus is the name of a city and Atlanta is the name of the city, Appomattox Courthouse is the name of a city in Virginia. Okay, so General Grant, Ulysses S. Grant, was fighting the Confederates up in Virginia. Okay, but neither side could win. And in war, that's called a stalemate. When neither side can win, it's called reaching a stalemate. Neither side wanted to give up. Oh no. Now, the Confederacy was very weak. Their military struggled during the battle in Virginia because of no supplies. Okay, because, you know, they had messed up all the train tracks and blocked their ability to get food and supplies. So the Confederacy really struggled during this battle. On April 9th, 1865, Robert E. Lee finally said, we can't win. Like, we can't win. I'm losing my men left and right. We can't get supplies. Like, it's over. Because remember, Sherman came towards Virginia from the south. Grant attacked from the north. They sandwiched the Confederacy in the middle, and there was nowhere for Robert E. Lee and his men to go. So on April 9th, 1865, 4 years after the beginning of the Civil War, it finally ended with Robert E. Lee surrendering. So in the town of Appomattox Courthouse, Robert E. Lee and Ulysses S. Grant went to someone's home, and Robert E. Lee signed surrender papers. And I think I told y'all last week that Robert E. Lee said he would rather die 1,000 deaths than have to surrender to the Union. But he had no choice. He would rather die 1,000 times than to have to surrender. Now, you would think that Grant would ride off in the sunset, whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah, there was none of that. There was none of that. Because if you think about it, the Civil War was a war fought with ourselves. So even though the Union was victorious, and even though the Confederacy had to surrender, at the end of the day, it was still the United States fighting against themselves, which is not good. So General Grant and General Lee both rode off in total silence because the war was over, but at what cost? So many men lost their lives. So much land was destroyed. The South's economy was in ruins. So there was no celebration. Now, here comes the hard job that Abraham Lincoln's gonna face, putting back the Union. It's kind of like Humpty Dumpty, okay? Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Well, picture America picture the United States being Humpty Dumpty. And when the South seceded, that was Humpty Dumpty breaking apart. Then after the Civil War, it was the job of the Union to bring it back together again. And if you recall, only a few days after the end of the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. So he wasn't even the one to help bring the Union back together. All right, so it is our time to go. So listen to me. If I told you to stay after, I need you to stay after class with me. Otherwise, I am going to stop my share. I will see you guys tomorrow. Remember, you don't have any Google Classroom homework, all right? It is just review your notes because you'll have a quick check this week. I hope you have a great rest of your day. See you later, sweetnesses.